From the horrors of the Israel-Hamas war to another horror of a different kind in Afghanistan. Earthquakes that struck the country on the 7th of October had resulted in the deaths of more than 4,000 people. But a quake that struck the country this Wednesday has further added to the country's ongoing horrors. Also exacerbating the current situation, the country's aid and rescue, which are already in dire straits, are only a tiny trickle. Here's more.
Sia Arb village on the outskirts of Herat town. Death has been the theme here this last week. Digging mass graves is what many here have been doing night and day as piles of dead bodies are brought in by the hour.
It was 5 o'clock in the morning when I arrived here. So far, I have buried 30 dead bodies. So many graves have been dug, more than 500 graves. We dig graves and people bury the dead bodies.
There were two big jolts of 6.3 magnitude each and a series of small ones. The US Geological Survey put the epicenters in Zindajan district, about 25 miles west of Herat city, an economic and cultural hub in western Afghanistan. Another 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck on Wednesday, adding to the horrors. Moderate tremors extended into Iran in the west and Tajikistan in the north. In some 20 remote mountain villages, not one building is left standing. Row upon row of houses too fragile to withstand the quake crumbled in minutes. In many villages, 100% of the population is dead. The Taliban government and aid agencies initially struggled to estimate the death toll or how many remain missing. It is unlikely officials had population records for such remote villages. Even among Afghanistan's own past quake tragedies, this one goes down as the most devastating that the already crippled Taliban-ruled nation has seen in decades. Harrowing images of frantic rescue efforts flashed on TV screens around the world, a race against time as tragedy caught up.
From every home, there are 2, 3 or even 9 casualties. I have a 2-year-old daughter who was martyred in my family and 1 other injured. The toll for martyrs and injured is not known. There was no one to help them, to rescue the injured ones.
Looking ahead, it's a difficult future. 2,000 houses are completely gone, say authorities. That's a conservative estimate of the number of families left homeless, at least about 10,000 people. Winter approaches, rebuilding houses in time is an uphill task, and a bigger tragedy lurks. Bear in mind that this crisis in Afghanistan comes at a time when 15 million people, a third of the population, do not know where their next meal will come from. The World Food Programme needs $400 million in funding to deliver food to remote locations and help millions of the most vulnerable people.
There are people sitting there without shelter. They are afraid, they are scared. Even if they have partially damaged houses, they are scared to enter these houses. We have mild cases who receive treatment and should go back home, but unfortunately they do not have, as they told me yesterday in my visit to the hospital yesterday, they don't have home to go back to.
And that's besides problems around most of the world looking at the Taliban as a pariah. China pitched in with $200,000 in aid to the Afghan Red Crescent organization. The US says its humanitarian partners are responding with aid in support of the people of Afghanistan. Fact is, the level of global relief and aid that should be flowing into the country when a catastrophe like this strikes is just not visible.
And we know that this country also is on sanctions. Poverty is high. economic situation is not very promising as per the latest reports coming from the World Bank. So we are expecting more deterioration, not just in health, but in other aspects that will definitely impact the health of the Afghans.
One is an out-and-out man-made nightmare, and despite the visible horrors, there's a choice not to stop it. The other, in Afghanistan, is more about the ferocity of the earth wreaking havoc. Here again, though, it's mankind to blame for not acting fast enough for repair. A political dimension stares here too. Will real lessons ever be learned?